Hey, do you want to come over and make a pot of tea, bring your favorite crystals? We could talk about our birth charts, spirits, the latest house spells we've been doing. Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm that witch next door. Hello, neighbor. Welcome back to another episode of That Witch Podcast. I am so excited to be talking to you today. We have quite a fan favorite back on the podcast today. I don't know if you know that, Andrea, but you sure are. We have a little fan favorite guest back on the podcast today, and I am so excited to talk to share our discussion with all of you today because I think it is going to be such a valuable and such a helpful one. I have Andrea Morrison of Dream Life Connection back again with us. This is like our little annual tradition.
Yeah,
Andrea.
Third time's a charm.
Yes, exactly. And I always have you on around Pisces season because this is dream central time, and this is when we're already starting to feel either a lot more called to our dream realm, or for me, for example, and I do have a Pisces moon, during Pisces season, it's like the veil between those realms is like thinner for me. And I am almost seeing and sensing in my dream world, in my waking life, and a little bit vice versa during Pisces season. So this is a very dreamy and dream-centric time. Andrea, even though you've been here with us before, we have lots of new listeners. Will you share with us your big three and tell us about who you are and what you do?
Yes, of course. So happy to be back, as always. So I'm a Taurus Leo. And I am the founder of Dream Life Connection, where I am a dream therapist and an online business manager where I help people essentially connect with their dream lives and help build their businesses to create their dream life. So, and it's exciting because every time we talk, there's always big new developments. And now it's so exciting because last time we talked, I think it was when I was in Vietnam. And now I'm back in my hometown of Spokane. And I was invited to be a part of a startup dream app, and it's called Dreamigos, Dreamigos. And you can download the app, and it's like a digital dream journal, but also it's really cool because it's a whole community. And it's called a dream line, where everybody can share their dreams and then we can comment on them. There's a dream guidebook, and you can record your dreams via text and voice. And so it's been really, 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 really magical to be a part of, because it's like this whole time I've been wondering, am I doing the right thing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? But then things just keep popping up that are in alignment with what I love. And yeah, now I'm on a podcast with you talking more and more about dreams. So I'm happy to be here.
I am beyond excited for you. It's been so cool. Again, because this is kind of perchance become like our little yearly tradition. It's been so cool seeing the journey unfold all of this time and see how everything's been developing. So if you are a new listener, or if it's been a while or you need a refresher, so Andrea, I first asked her to come on my podcast in my early episodes. Both of these are going to be linked in the show notes below for anyone that wants to go listen or re-listen to them. But our very first time together was this very basic, beginner-friendly introduction into very practical dream work. Then I had you back on a year later, and we talked about the gift of nightmares. That's the name of the episode. And this was really focused on shifting our perspective, more than anything, shifting our perspective around nightmares, because so many of us are just instantly like, oop, nope, shut that out. No, get away. and don't utilize them at all. Today, what I really want to talk with you about, Andrea, and what I want to share with everybody is utilizing our dream work. So, especially for the purpose of or in the realm of manifestation or personal transformation, I think that so many people learn the basics and fundamentals of dream work, getting your dream journal, being consistent about your nighttime ritual, some of these basic building blocks. And then are either like, well, now what? Or what am I supposed to do with that? Is this just really writing down in a journal and walking away at the end of the day? What do I actually do with this? And I know you, of all people, know the depths of really putting dream work to practice. I mean, this is ultimately where the name of your business comes from, right? Dream Life Connection is specifically building that bridge. So I would love to talk about this with you today. Will you first start by telling us your journey a little bit of coming into dream work and turning that into a practice in your life beyond the dream journal, if you will?
Absolutely. So my life, the way that it is right now, has happened because of my dreams. I have essentially manifested my quote unquote dream life because of my dreams. And back in 2016, 2017, I was working in a corporate job that was great. It was a great job at a TV station, fairly glamorous. I loved it. But then I started learning how to remember my dreams, interpret my dreams, and I started lucid dreaming. And then that is what kind of woke me up to a world beyond Earth and also my own subconscious language, because I didn't realize what was actually going on in my subconscious mind. I didn't even really know the mechanics of my subconscious mind. Not that there's mechanics, but I started noticing I was having these dream symbols over and over. And one of them was actually a green Volkswagen van. It always appeared in my dream for some reason. And I didn't really know why at the time, but then I started learning more and more about dreams. And VW vans to me represent freedom. And they're kind of that, hippie lifestyle. And there I was living or working at a corporate job, literally living my life to the minute in TV. And so I was like, okay, this is interesting. I started having my lucid dreams. I started thinking about this van, and then I started asking for signs. And I call it playing with the universe. And I was like, all right, let's play with this. Give me some signs here and there. And there's a term called lucid living that I really, really love, because when you learn how to lucid dream, you become aware while you're in the dream and you can control it. Well, you can do this while you're awake too. A lot of us live our lives just on autopilot, going through the motions. But when you're lucid living, you're just a little bit more in tune with yourself and what's going on around you. And so I started asking for signs. And then there was one email that got sent at my work talking about a villa in Bali. And my radar just kind of pinged and was like, that seems important. And you can almost interpret that like a dream symbol. And I'm like, this seems important. I'm going to look into this. And so I looked into it, and a couple months later, I had a vacation planned to Bali, went to Bali, changed my life, immediately went back to Seattle, quit my job, and moved back to Bali. And it was all because of my connections with my dreams. And I really was living that. I almost transitioned from this corporate life, like I think of the elevator and I was always pressing number 4 and I was like, I wonder what it's going to be like when I don't have to hit that number anymore. I wonder what it's going to be like. Became more aware of that and I switched from the elevator to the green VW van, started living in freedom, and now it's been 8 years and I've been traveling, living in Europe, living in Southeast Asia, and creating this business that I absolutely adore and have amazing clients, including you, Danny. And it makes me like giddy and so happy because it literally is a quote unquote dream come true. And it's all because maybe it necessarily wasn't my dreams. It was just being able to connect with myself on a deeper level and remove those limiting beliefs and using my dreams as the tool to do so. And here I am now with you, and I'm just so happy.
I love that. Well, I always love your story. I always love hearing your story. And you already bring up some really, really good and fascinating points. Number one, would you say, so you bring up the dream work itself, like the VW van. This was a symbol in your dreams that recurred for you. But then you also used the ad or the flyer for Bali. But this was not in your dreams. This was something that you saw while you were awake. And then you mentioned that could, really be looked at and approached like a dream symbol. So my question for you is, when you talk about in your story, in the example of your story, utilizing what we look at as like traditional dream work, interpreting a symbol, a recurring symbol in a dream, and applying that into your life and meaning in your life. But you also use the advertisement to Bali as a similar example, except for that you didn't dream about that symbol. That was something that you came across in your regular life. So would you say that dream work, effective dream work, is doing both, applying dream work basics like recording your dreams, journaling about them, interpreting the symbols, and then applying those same principles and methods to your life and your waking symbols as well?
Yes. Yeah. So kind of going back to the lucid living, and I think I've mentioned it probably in each episode just because I love this theory, notion, belief, whatever you want to call it, is how the Tibetan yogis view life in its entirety as a dream. It's all connected. There is no sleeping, there is no awake. It's all connected. And so when you start going through your life lucid living and start paying attention to these things, you might see a cat on the road and think, oh, that's a cat on the road. Or you can interpret it like it's a dream in your waking life and it could have meaning. I personally believe that everything that we encounter and experience has meaning to it, because I also believe that we create our own reality. You might even go as far to say as we live in a simulation, and where our thoughts create our reality. So everything you're experiencing could be something with a message. And a lot of times we have this thought that, okay, we experience something in our waking life and then we dream about it, but it could, I think that dreams are alive. Dreams want to have their stories lived. And so there's a question that you can ask instead of saying, what is my dream? You could ask, what dream brings me here? And you can live out these dreams and essentially like manifest them in your reality, or treat everything like a dream. And then you just start tapping into your subconscious mind in a deeper way. And everything just starts to feel a little bit more fun and alive. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it's been so fun going through my days and experiencing something and thinking, okay, what is my dream, or what is this symbol trying to guide me toward, if that makes sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And I think that this is, at least for me, I think that this is one of the most groundbreaking concepts whenever I talk to you about this, because very, very similar to other types of spiritual mediums like tarot, like astrology, these other tools, a combination of how we're programmed, how we're raised, but I think also a little mixture of our nature as well. The way we approach most of these spiritual tools is, what is this telling me my future is going to be?
Yeah.
And this, I've noticed, this is probably one of the biggest hangups I see in tons of people I meet, whether they're clients or students or just people that I meet in the spiritual industry. You know, when you get to talking about dream work, so many people hold themselves back because they're afraid that their dreams are prophesizing something negative or bad that's going to come to pass. And the truth is that this is the very same fear that holds a ton of people back from learning tarot, from learning astrology. It's all very, very similar. This concept is so much more aligned with like how I approach tarot and astrology, because I'm like, this, I mean, yeah, maybe we might learn how this could help us in the future, but this is way more about right now, living in the moment. So this concept of lucid living is so helpful, I think, because of the amount of people that I hear get held back by that. This is, you know, I'm afraid of dreaming of bad omens. The biggest thing that happens, which is exactly why I had asked you to record the nightmare episode with me, I just get so many people who are afraid to even explore the benefits of it, because they're like, something must be wrong with me. I dream these bad omens, and I'm afraid if I even speak about them or write about them, I'm gonna like make them come to pass. Yeah. And I think that so many people are missing out on this huge opportunity.
Well, and maybe that's what they need to do, is make them come to pass in some kind of way. And there, just really quickly, there's a perfect example for this, where I was in a seminar where a woman was talking about dream dancing, and she was talking about how it was a form of living out your dream. There's all sorts of phrases and terms about dream the dream on, and bring your dream to life. And so if you do have a negative dream or a perceived negative dream, I don't think any dream, I mean, we talked about this in the nightmare episode, all these monsters or negative entities could be something that we need to acknowledge and give love, but we can also live out this dream and manifest it through movement, dream dancing. She gave the example of, maybe you have a dream about an earthquake, and the way that you bring it to life is you literally shake your body. And that's the way that the dream gets to be lived. And that's your way of processing this dream symbol or emotion. And so if you don't process it, it could manifest in a different way, in a way that maybe isn't as easy or isn't as fun. And so if you do have a negative dream, I think it's really good to re-enter that dream. You could either learn how to become lucid and face that negative entity in your dream while you're lucid, but that is a skill that you have to learn. What you can do, if you don't know how to lucid dream yet, is you can re-enter your dream, and you can have a journal with you, you can free write, and you can almost enter the mind of that negative entity and give its perspective and live it out and write it down or dance it or move it or whatever speaks to you, draw it. And you might get some answers from that. And I think that's a really powerful way of essentially processing usually a limiting belief that you have. Because most dreams are showing you what is working, what is not working. If there's something that's not working, there's a belief that you need to overcome and that you need to rewire in your brain. And once you do that, you open these doors to new possibilities.
This is absolutely fascinating. So, okay, first I have a follow-up question to that. Then I have a little idea I want to run by you.
Mm-hmm.
My follow-up question is, when you talk about this concept of dream dancing,
Mm-hmm.
and what did you say? Live on the dream?
Dream the dream on.
Dream the dream on.
Uh-huh.
Are these concepts, are you saying that a form of processing a dream, especially a negative dream, is doing something physical that like brings it into the real world?
Yes. Taking action on it, living it out, being the vessel of the dream. Because again, there's so many different theories on what dreams are in different cultures. And some cultures believe dreams are ancestors or visions from the future, but also they could be living things that need to be alive. I know I keep referencing that, but by dancing it out or writing about it, drawing it, that means the dream gets to live and be alive. And I think the phrase was what I think I wrote it down. Sorry. Where did I write it? So there's a phrase that I learned in a seminar given by a Native American who was talking about if you change your dreams, you can change your life. And in our Western world, we think, oh, cause and effect. We have this experience, then we have this dream. But it could also be if we work on changing our dreams, processing them, working on them, giving them context, then our lives can change because of that. Which is really powerful.
In reverse, basically. Instead of, because I'm so glad you said that. That is, in addition to the fear, I'm afraid I dream a bad omen and I'm going to make that bad thing happen. In addition to that, that's the next most common issue where people, or not even issue, preconceived notion that people have about dreams. I only have a dream, like the amount of people I've heard water a dream down to an unhelpful point, I mean. Oh, I just dreamt that because I had cake yesterday morning. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like a random, I'm picking the most random example in the world. But there is this disservice that I think we can almost do to the ability to process it by writing it off in that quote unquote logical write-off that we do very, very often. Oh, dreams, it's a thing, we all do it. And it's this very easy way to water it down to a very unhelpful point when the further I explore the most universal concepts about humans, our existence, the meaning of it all, everything seems to have a purpose. Whether you're looking at an ecosystem or a human body or a human brain, everything has a purpose. So it starts to almost feel silly to say, oh, it's nothing. They're just these pointless things that happen. And it's like, is it even possible that it's pointless?
Yeah.
So here's what I want. Here's a little idea that I wanted to ask you. I have this recurring sensation that happens to me when I dream. And the way that it happens differs in each dream, but the sensation itself is the same. And I would love to talk about it on the episode with you and kind of use it as like a real life example because I kind of do that disservice to myself, and I keep writing this thing off to I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's happening because I'm feeling overwhelmed. And especially through what we're talking about today, I feel like this is a perfect example of like, if this is just a byproduct of me feeling overwhelmed, A, why does it keep repeating? Well, we could go into that. B, but really more than that, there is something calling for attention here, especially when something is repeated, whether it's in your dreams or your waking life. You know, something's repeatedly getting your attention for a reason. And I would love to talk about living this one out for sure, to process this with you. I'd love your ideas for this.
Yeah.
So this happens to me in a couple of different ways. The sensation is usually going upside down in some sort of loop. So usually it incorporates some version of heights most of the time, which is something that I developed a fear of as I became older. I never, ever had a fear of heights, and it's like rapidly worsening as I get older. It usually incorporates some sort of height. So sometimes it's like a Ferris wheel type ride that I'm like suspended in midair, and it's a locking type where once it comes down, instead of the cart like staying right side up, it stays in the locked position it is. So I'm forced, and it's a very slow loop. So I feel the blood rushing to my head, and I feel the stomach drop every single time. Sometimes this happens in a spaceship pod. This has also happened in a terrifying elevator in a recurring hotel that I dream about. It's a horrifying elevator. I hate having to get in this elevator. And again, all of them at some point or another, suspended in midair, this slow upside down looping, and I'm like trapped on it. And this has repeated so much that I've gotten a little bit lucid without even doing a lot of work around it, because I've just been there so many times that usually what happens as far as I'm able to go is I'm like, I know that I have to brace myself, basically. I always have this little miniature pep talk with myself in the dream, and I'm like, there's nothing you can do about this. You have to just bear down and deal with this. There's always this, like, you just have to deal. Again, because of that stomach drop and like blood flow, I always chalk this up to you're having a lot of anxiety, you're overwhelmed. This is what this has been. But I've been having this recurring sensation for years, a very, very long time. I've had several in the last month or two.
Yeah.
Even. Where would you advise beginning? Where's like kind of the first place?
There's so many things. I was taking notes, and it's like, wow. And I feel like it's all almost like connected in a way to, like, the vision that comes to me is like childhood, especially because you had just said you didn't have a fear of heights before, and now you do. And so you have the Ferris wheel, which is a very nostalgic symbol to me. If I were having these dreams, this is how I would interpret it. If it were mine, I don't want to say like this is what it means, but same with even, a spaceship. That's very childlike, I would think, because I think children don't have that filter and they're more likely to like believe that. But a way to process it, if you want to do the whole dream the dream on and live it out, I think you should actually do that action. Like go, like move upside down, let the blood flow, do it in slow motion, maybe do a few somersaults, just see how it feels. But the word that jumped out at me that I underlined is the word brace, because your instinct is to brace for it. You like tense up and you're like, okay. It's almost like this anticipation of this fear that you have. You expect it to come and you brace for it, and then it comes. And so if I were you, I think a way to overcome this is to do the opposite of bracing for it and to just ride it and just to let it go. And I always think, I love, I think it was the first one, the movie Dune, where he's flying through the sandstorm and he's holding the helicopter or whatever it's called, and he's bracing and he's holding it tight, trying to steer in this massive windstorm. And then finally he realizes, I need to just let it go and just let the wind take me. And then he makes it out and he just sort of relaxes. So I think, again, if this were me, I would say you need to tap into your inner child, do some somersaults, go upside down. And I think also the fact that it's an upside down motion, it's like, it's kind of telling you, like, think of it from the opposite direction. Let it go, just relax. And so the next time you have not only a dream like this, but if there's an experience like this in your waking life, because usually if you're experiencing an emotion in your dream, it's correlated to something going on in your waking life where you're doing the same thing. You're bracing for it. If there's something that you're not looking forward to, or because think about it too, Ferris wheels are awesome. Spaceships, heck yeah, that would be amazing. Elevators are fun. You go up and down.
Whenever I tell people about these dreams, this is part of the conversation. Everyone is like, first of all, these sound like the coolest dreams in the world, and I wish I dreamed like this. And every time I'm like, it's horrifying. I hate it every time I encounter it. And sometimes I even know this happens to me in flying dreams.
Yeah.
Because of the fear of heights thing. There's this, oh no, oh no, oh no. And there's this beyond my control feeling associated with it, which is where this like need to like tense up and provide like stability for myself comes from. But it's so funny because exactly in my waking life, every time I've retold this, I leave the retelling feeling like, God, I feel like I'm kind of wasting something, like something that could be really fun or really exciting.
I think that's what it's telling you, is that the thing that you're afraid of is actually pretty cool and you got to give it a chance. And maybe it's a lot better than you're expecting it to be. And by going into those things with those expectations, that's what you're manifesting. You're going into it with these expectations, therefore making that your reality. Whereas if you go into it, chill, all right, no expectations, let's just see what happens, and it'll probably turn out to be a lot better. So you have to think about the link between the dream and what does the Ferris wheel represent in your waking life? What does the spaceship represent in your waking life? What does the elevator represent? And maybe those all represent one thing. And then try going into that with just a little bit more of an open mind, like, hey, this could be fun. Maybe go into it with the lens of your younger self. And this is what I love about, manifestation and dream work. They're so interlinked. It is such, and when you learn about manifestation, I've taken so many courses, they never mention dreams. Well, sometimes. Most of the time they don't though, but they're so linked because manifestation is, all about aligning your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions with what you want, right? And your subconscious mind is controlling 90% of your thoughts and your waking life and your the neuroplasticity, the beliefs that you're building over and over and over. And this is what's amazing about dreams, is when you're asleep in REM, your prefrontal cortex is asleep. And that is what is guiding the logic and kind of the analytics of your life. And so when you're asleep, you don't have that filter anymore. And this is why kids can dream so vividly and they live their lives as if they're a dream, because they don't have that filter yet. So it's really cool because as you're sleeping, the limbic system is more awake. And this is the system that is more in touch with your emotions. And so by connecting dreams and manifestation, essentially what you're doing is you're really discovering what are my limiting beliefs. And by working through those, that's when you start manifesting. Because we all know, we've all heard the basics of manifestation, yet we're like, I've done all the affirmations, I've done all the good things, I'm a good person, I'm happy. Yet why is this crap still happening? It's because there's things happening below the surface that you're not aware of. It's all subconscious. So then the dreams shine a light on those things, and then you can work through it.
This is so, so helpful and just so refreshing beyond, the classic. I had this really scary dream that a snake bit me. I'm going to Google what a snake means in a dream.
Yeah.
There's some transformation happening for me.
Yeah.
Because that's what I Googled and a snake meant, and I walked away from it.
Yeah.
There's so much about the mainstream of like dream interpretation that reminds me so much of mainstream like horoscope astrology, like magazine astrology type stuff, where I'm like, there's a reason why this is generically sort of in general true, if you will, for a large group of people. The nuance you're missing is wildly important though. And with just a little bit of practice and getting to know your subconscious language. That's something that you introduced to me on our very first episode, was talking about learning the language of your subconscious, because each of our subconscious talks to us in a unique way. That's not truly universal. What's universal is that we all have a subconscious. What's universal is we all have this subconscious language. But what that is so incredibly personal to each of us. And it's very similar with your astrology, your connection to your tarot cards, your connection to your intuition, your spirit guides. It's like when people ask me, how do you know it's your spirit guide sending you a sign? Well, practice. It's practice. It's because I learned and I listened and I paid attention. And with those basic building blocks, like documenting different things that you see and how you feel, and through that process of processing, you're practicing and you are building this language, and you are starting to understand it. And so I think that people overestimate the amount of work that it takes and underestimate the power of the dream itself. And then kind of leave this really helpful gift that we all have. Just kind of running in the background. And honestly, for some people, it just creates a lot of anxiety in the background.
Well, it's important for people to know too, though, that yes, dream work and getting to know your own language, it does take time and effort and energy. Sometimes it can be really exhausting. It's like, why can't I just get something that tells me what this means, what I need to do? It doesn't quite work like that. Dreams communicate via, or not dreams, but your subconscious. Or maybe it's not even your subconscious. Maybe it's a collective subconscious. It communicates through symbols, puns, metaphors, emotions. It doesn't have, again, that logical way of thinking. It's not a normal, that's why you can enter a dream and it'll feel like hours, but it was only like 2 minutes. That's not normal. So there's some really good ways to easily tap into your subconscious language. And I think one of the best ways is to give your dream context by asking a question the night before. Because a lot of times we have our dreams and we're like, oh, why did I dream about...
And then we ask the question.
Exactly. And so dreams can be... They're all answers to something, but if you don't know the question, you don't know what it's trying to tell you. You can interpret it, obviously, but say you have a dream about like a dog surfing or something. I don't know, something weird. Dreams are weird. But the next day you have that dream and you think, what does that mean? Okay, it could mean a lot. It could mean a lot of different things. But if you give it context from the night before, if you ask a question, you could ask like, hey, how do I manifest the love of my life? And then you have the dream about a dog surfing, then you can interpret it in an easier way and you can figure out, okay, what does surfing represent? Oh, go with the flow. What is a dog? Loyal, friendly. There's a plethora of ways you can interpret it, but I think that's a really great way to start because I will admit, it can be a little overwhelming. The other thing that I want to encourage people to do is to not give up, because I promise you, the more you do it, the better it becomes, the easier it becomes, the more often you become lucid, which is the best feeling in the whole wide world. The more journals you start filling up, or heck, download Dreamigo's app and start recording them there, and you have a whole catalog of all your dreams. Sometimes when you look back on dreams, they have an entirely new meaning that give you answers. Or sometimes you read somebody else's dream, or you share your dream with someone and it's a lesson for them, or their dream is a lesson for you. And I'll share, I had this experience recently where I had a dream I think it was last year. And it was a dream where I was in front of a fish tank and there were all these fish in there. And I was just dumping in all this fish food, and the fish food was just sinking straight to the bottom. And I'm like, fish, the food is right there. Go get look down. It's right there. There's a ton of food right below you. And they're swimming around, not seeing the food. And then I realized, I need to put them in one by one and put it right in front of their faces. So I did that, and then the fish would see them and they would eat it. So as soon as I woke up, I interpreted that dream. And in that time, I was really focused on my business, and I was trying to think okay, what does this mean for my business? Oh, I need to go where the fish, the people already are. I need to just be right in front of them rather than just try all the things and throw all the things in and do the Google ads and do this and that. It's just go where they already are. So then recently I read that dream again, and I was like, this has a different meaning to me now. And the way I interpreted it recently was okay, yeah, you can obviously go where the fish are, but what if you're the fish? And what if the food represents abundance and it's right there? There's so much right there. But all you have to do is you have to look a different direction. You have to go upside down. You have to do something that is a little different than what you have been programmed to do. And then boom, it's all right there. So you can have fun with your dreams and give them time and record them, revisit them, do dream audits, start noticing patterns, symbols that show up. And then you'll start being able to connect the dots. And it helps you move through your life with more grace, but also a lot more fun, because now I'm thinking about, okay, where do I need to go? What do I need to do? And again, sorry, but a lot of my dreams, so many of my dreams had the pattern of me not belonging. I wasn't being allowed into something, or I was accepted into something out of pity, or there was a lot of judgment. So I viewed that as there was obviously a limiting belief dealing with my self-confidence. I didn't feel in my waking life like I belonged or that I was worthy of something. So I really started working with that. And one of the biggest things that I did, there's all these self-love practices you can do, but what I intuitively took from all of these dream patterns and symbols was I need to start believing in myself, and I need to start saying yes to more things. And so even when you asked me to be on your podcast again, I feel like my normal reaction would be like, okay, well, can we wait like 2 months? Can I prepare for it? Like all nervous, like who am I to go on this amazing podcast again? But like I just started saying yes to things, and I was like, okay, and all these opportunities have been popping up for me now. And I'm feeling really good and really confident. And I actually got this new tarot deck. I pulled the Queen of Wands twice and was like, okay, I gotta be, this is like my sign, you know. I'm where I'm supposed to be. And yeah, so it's been really, really cool to notice these things.
I love that. Oh, that's so, so, so cool. So your start into dream work was something that you embarked in on your own. But especially through your learning, not just your learning about dream work, but then starting to live this dream life, right? And like quitting your job and going and doing the digital nomad thing, essentially, like going across seeds, like this requires putting yourself out there, meeting new people, talking to new people. I know that a part of your journey clearly also ended up including sharing your dreams with other people, building this community, especially like hearing this current stage of your journey, being a part of the Dream Egos app, hearing that the app has this community aspect to it. What are the benefits of opening up your dream practice like that to others, especially because that feels so scary and vulnerable?
Yeah.
Our dream world feels so vulnerable, especially depending on some of the things that we dream about. Even if it's not scary,
Yeah.
let's call it what it is. What about like those dreams you have, whether it's like in an X-rated way and you're like, oh, like what was I? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Those kinds of things. So I think that there's like this vulnerability aspect to our dream world. Can you tell us what you think some of the benefits are to opening up that vulnerable part of your world, though, to others? How can like having community in this process be helpful?
Yeah. Well, I should know on the app, there is a feature to make your dreams private. So don't you worry. I have made many of my dreams private, and I'm sure many other people have too, because it is true. Like when you start sharing your dreams, it is a very vulnerable thing to do. It's very, very special though. And I think there's kind of two camps of people. There are people who share their dreams and they don't think it means anything. And sometimes when people are sharing their dreams with me and they're like, oh, yeah, it's really random. But I'm like, whoa, you just shared a huge part of yourself and you don't even know it. The amazing thing about dream communities in general, not just Dormigos, but in general, I feel like people who are in touch with their dreams, it's a very loving, open community because we're all quote unquote awake, you know, to the fact that our dreams mean something. And the more you read other people's dreams, the more that you interact with them or share your dreams, the more you tap into the collective consciousness, I believe, because sometimes you'll see dreams and you're like, I had the same exact dream. Or one time I had a dream with my mom and we both dreamed about wolves on the same night. So that again is just like an indicator of like, okay, there's magic to be had. So the more you share with other people, it's really good practice for yourself. It's really an amazing, amazing way to connect with people. And it's been so special to see people interacting on their dreams and sharing their own interpretations. When you become an interpreter, one of the first things that you learn, which I think is a very ethical thing, is to not become an interpreter that just says, this is what this means. This is it. Instead, it's this could mean this, or if this were my dream, this is how I would interpret it. Because I can't speak for you. I can't speak for anybody else, but I can give like my own interpretation. And by doing so, that could spark something in you that's like, oh, it's all about perspectives. And you become so open to so many other perspectives. And, you know, if you were to dream about a snake, 10 other people could have completely different views on what snakes mean in a dream. And it's fun to be open to that and be like, oh, maybe that actually resonates more. Or, whoa, that's a synchronicity that actually connects with this dream. And so it just kind of helps you, I don't know, connect and feel more connected with yourself, but also feel like, hey, I'm not alone in these like weird dreams. And this is a really cool place to be.
Ah, this is so cool. I love this so much. I specifically want to talk about this because I'm very, very beyond excited to let all of you know that Andrea is our official department head of our Dream Portal department in that witch school, which is like
So excited.
this all new branch and feature in that witch school that I've had in the seeds, you know. It's been budding for a very, very long time. There's definitely parts in my astrology chart that indicate my connection to and comfortability in the dream realm. I'm one of those people that since I was very young, the most random people at the most random times will tell me their dreams. I've had full-blown strangers go, I don't know why I feel the need to tell you this, but can I tell you about this nightmare that I've been having? I mean, full, like, fascinating. Now, I am not necessarily the facilitator of that, however, but I've known that this is a part of my world for a really, really long time. And I really believe so much in this community aspect of dream work, especially in lucid living, dream life connection, whatever, you know, however you want to shape and define the concept. I think a huge, huge important aspect of it, or even just benefit to that or help, is the community aspect. Because I think that you're right. Probably of all hangups, of all obstacles, of all challenges that people encounter in this type of work, it's staying consistent with it. I really think that, I mean, and that's why I love that you brought up not giving up and being patient with the process and to continue trying no matter what, because I really truly think that's where we get hung up. And one of the first, or makes us give up or quit or whatever, and I think that one of the first things that help us with consistency are other people, right? That accountability factor, that support factor, that relatability factor, feeling seen, feeling validated, feeling accepted and supported. And I've already, over these last almost 3 years, by the way, the school is celebrating a 3-year anniversary this year, which is just
congratulations.
Talk about dreams come true. My God, it's huge. 3 years old. I've always known from the very beginning, and I've had students ask me from the very beginning, I'm interested in dream work, these little things. Andrea's done a dream workshop for us in that witch school. If you're in that witch school, you're already, if you're in our, let's see here, I believe our middle tier, our essentials package, or our all access package, you already have access to the dreams workshop. But this is an ongoing type of work. This is a practice. This is something that does require some consistency, and it requires some support. And I think that one of the best ways we can get out of some of the most common blockages is letting some people in our dream space, or even if it's just letting them in some of our dream processing space. Because just like you said with like the Dream Egos app, you don't have to make all of your actual dreams public for everyone to be a part of a community and benefit from that, and utilizing your dream symbols in your life
Yeah.
and utilizing your dream work practices in your living life. So, Andrea, I would first love for you to tell us about our Dream Portal Club that we are going to be having each month in that witch school.
Yeah, I'm so excited and honored. It is something that we literally have been talking about for years. So it's amazing that it's happening now. And I remember feeling kind of bad, like, oh, I like even a year ago, it's like we should do this, we should do this. But it really feels so right and aligned right now. And it's like, and again, a lot of that is because I've been working through with my dreams. And I'm like, it's time, Andrea. It's time. Like, let's do this. And something you were talking about too is like, I love that we're already having such an amazing discussion about the Dream Portal Club or the Dream Portal within That Witch School, because we made a post about it. A lot of people are commenting about how excited they are and how much they have vivid dreams. A lot of the comments are talking about how they haven't dreamt in a while or they can't remember their dreams. So I think by even engaging in this, it's going to start increasing dream recall. And we're going to have this amazing community of spirits talking about their dreams and kind of referencing back to the beginning of this conversation, thinking about all of us in this community as dream characters. It's like, view this as a dream in itself. And so you share a piece of yourself. And in dreams, when you have a dream about a person, that person is a reflection of a part of you. So when we're going to be doing these dream portal clubs, which are essentially dream circles, we're going to be having monthly calls where we're going to be talking about our dreams, going over certain topics, some really incredible themes, sharing our dreams, being an open and safe space to talk about our dreams. And we can all view each other as reflections of ourselves. So when I put my dream out there and somebody comments on it, it's like we're all connected. We're one. If you're giving me an interpretation, that's like a piece of me that's sharing an insight that maybe I need to hear, and vice versa. So it's going to be so magical and it's divine timing. I'm so excited to just dive in there. So we're going to have a lot of resources and people can share their dreams, their thoughts. We'll do some workshops and it's just going to, I have an amazing lucid dream tarot deck that I'll do some tarot pulls from. And it's just going to be all the dreamy things. So I'm excited.
Oh, I'm seriously so excited because I really do think that one of the biggest hangups is, where do I even begin in the first place? Then people do figure out a couple of first basic steps where to start, do it a couple times, feel really down about not staying consistent with it. And then the either literal or metaphorical dream journal collects dust for an indefinite amount of time.
Which has happened to me many times before.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If there's one thing I can say, like, I would love, which is exactly why I started asking you to help mentor me in dream work recently. And that's what Andrea and I have been doing with each other. You know, Andrea is a mentoring client of mine, but I'm a mentoring client of Andrea's, because this is something that I'm called to and pulled to over and over again. I definitely have a personal goal of wanting to be way more consistent with my dream work. There is a lot of room for improvement there. And at the same time, first of all, just in my last several years of knowing you, my dream work practices has come so far from just the very simple basics that you've been able to give me, and really practical tips and stuff like that, because of this simple notion that even though sometimes I would go far in between, I still never stopped. I still always picked up the pen again, if you will, so to speak. You know, I still continued trying. And I think that even just in the progress that I've had alone, that has, yes, like increased my skill in interpreting my dream, but really more what it's increased is my confidence in my interpretation.
I love it.
Of my dream. Feeling like, not doubting that that's what it is. I think it's a little bit easier than we all like to admit to actually interpret it. I think where we really get hung up is that, oh, am I wrong? Is this is this incorrect? And I think that this is one of the most helpful aspects about close-knit, safe communities, because you start sharing experiences like that. And number one, you have a bunch of people that are like, I am right there with you, my friend. You don't have anything to feel bad about. That's exactly what I've been doing. Get that validation. But number two, the other thing you get is, just like you said, you never know, just in the retelling to somebody else outside of yourself, outside of the dream journal itself, what can spark, what connection can be made, what can come full circle, what can end up coming to the surface for you. And I just think that the possibilities are just absolutely limitless. And I'm so excited to have you like really officially on board. I could not agree with you more. This is coming to fruition at the time that it was totally meant to, especially because as the founder of that witch school, and for you as the head of the dream department, we are who we need to be in that position now. You know what I mean?
Happy.
We've had to do.
It's like our own little Hogwarts. So I'm so excited.
1,000,000%,
Professor
Andrea. And if that speaks to you, my friend, then join yesterday, because that is our vibe over there. Are you kidding me? Oh yes, absolutely. But no, I cannot wait for our first dream circle is coming up in March. So it has not happened yet, my friends. You absolutely have time to be able to join us before our first one. But this is something that is, this is on an ever unfolding rose. This is going to be blossoming for many years to come from here. But I really, really am so, so grateful to you and what you're bringing to our space and what you're going to be opening up for our community, because I really do, just to like get really punny with it, I think dream work is something we just sleep on as humans.
I totally agree. I don't think I've actually, maybe I've said a form of that sentence, but I love that. Like, don't sleep on your dreams,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Andrea, I'm going to have everything in the show notes below for anyone who wants to listen to our last dream episodes, of course, everyone who wants to join us in that witch school. But please tell us, where can we find you? Where can we follow you? How can we support your work that you're doing?
Oh, thank you. Well, to be honest, the most active space that I'm in right now is the Dreamigos Instagram. So if you do at Dreamigos, DREAMIGOS, I have been putting so much fun content out there. It's been really fun to do. And of course the app and dreamlifeconnection.com. I do online business management, dream therapy sessions, and Dream Life Connection on Instagram. And of course, that witch school. So excited.
Yay!
So come join us.
Yes. Please don't sleep on it.
Yeah, don't sleep on it. And Danny, thank you so much for having me back and just having me be a part of this. And if we're going to be a little punny or silly, I just want to say you're one of my very favorite dream characters. So thank you for being in my life.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Andrea and my work together is very transcendent.
Oh man,
been
you have changed
so
my life. You have truly it's been magical. So thank you.
It's been an honor. It really, really has. Being a mentor is something I didn't necessarily dream about as a little kid. I did dream about being a teacher a lot, and
Well,
I just didn't
there you
turn.
go.
I know. I just didn't. It wasn't what I expected.
Well,
the
you are a
expectation I
teacher.
had, the picture of it.
You're
But
just,
yeah,
you're not a typical school.
Exactly.
You are a school teacher, just a magical school teacher.
Oh, I love
I'm
that
so
even
happy.
more. I love that even more.
Yeah, thank you for doing
So
what you
everyone,
do.
all of the details are in the show notes below for joining that witch school, dates for joining for our first Dream Portal Club. All of that is down in the show notes below if you want to make sure to join us for that. Everywhere to connect with Andrea. Go support the Dream Egos app. This just sounds amazing.
It's so fun.
Even before this episode, before every time you talk to me about that, I love getting the updates about that.
Yeah.
I think it's such a cool, groundbreaking, total Age of Aquarius thing that's happening and unfolding. But thanks for coming on here today. This was such a good conversation.
I appreciate you.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for your time and energy and space here with us today. We are both so incredibly grateful. If you have questions for us, do not be shy. Send those our way. I would love to go into that further on the podcast, in that witch school. Dream work is a very open-ended, and dreams are a very open-ended conversation around our witchy neighborhood here. But make sure, everyone, until I catch you next time, that you're out there staying safe. You keep letting yourselves have some fun. And of course, stay magical, my friend. Did you get something valuable out of today's show? Here's how you can help continue to grow our magic. First, you can head over to Apple or Spotify and leave a 5-star rating and review. You can also share a shout out on your social media page and make sure you tag me at thatwitch.nextdoor. And of course, you can just tell a friend that you think would enjoy the show and send them a link to the episode. Thank you so much, neighbor, for your support. I'll see you next time.